Yes, I've picked up my favourite yesteryear Rolex, the 16710 GMT Master 2, nicknamed the Coke. Hi, I'm Xiang, and today I'll share on why in the world did I buy a 20 years old watch. Before diving into the GMT Master, let's wind back a little as to why I've looked past these watches all these years. The Submariner was the Rolex I wanted to start my watch journey with, but was ultimately shut down by how large one wears due to its maxi case. I've since dismissed the entire professional line of Rolex, which is a big mistake, because I've been missing out on non-maxi professional Rolexes such as the 16610 Submariner and the 16710 GMT Master 2, which fits perfectly on small wrist. The lug-to-lug and diameter of both these watches is Goldilocks for pretty much all wrist sizes, so if you've experienced something similar, happy hunting. Back to the GMT. Rolex created this model for Pan Am pilots to track additional time zones. It was the golden age of air travel, so the GMT Master was also likely worn by individuals who travel by plane. So if you're a fan of aviation, this is definitely something for you. Today, these neo vintage GMTs go for less than modern ceramic at market price. I'll personally get these older watches rather than fund someone's watch collection. It is unlikely Rolex will ever go back to making aluminum bezel GMTs, and we can get a ceramic one at retail, or at least close to retail, when times are less crazy. Having done some reading and speaking to collectors, some precautions to do are: buy from a reputable seller, condition of the case bezel to the bracelet, a period correct bracelet, all factory parts, unpolished and not serviced. It is just difficult for an average watch guy to be sure of any of these unless you have an identical model to cross-check for inspection. Things are usually priced accordingly and never too good to be true. I'm no expert in this, but this is an inevitable plunge to learn more about watches. The one that I got is apparently unpolished, where chamfers are sharp, lugs are thick, and crown on clasp is still visible. It has been serviced, which I prefer, as moving parts should be lubricated once in a while. There are scratches on both sides of the case and on its aluminium insert. Also, there is minimal sag on the bracelet. There is no ding. The sapphire crystal is clear, the dial is in good condition, and lume is still strong. After having it for several months, here are things I like about it. The design and size of the entire thing is just done so right. It looks good to the eyes and sits well on the wrist. That aside, odds of running into another person wearing the same watch is really low, which is another plus in my books. The blue and red Pepsi has finally appeared in ceramic form, but the Coke hasn't, so this is another win. Moving on to what's not so good. Buying one with little to no knowledge about these older watches is scary. So do your homework and go in with both eyes open. Parts can be replaced, servicing can be done, but like a classic car, you do not want to be buying someone's problem. When comparing a modern Rolex to a new vintage, the newer watch feels more solid and robust, which comes with heft. Even though the GMT is larger in every dimension, it is only 6 grams heavier than the Air King. The GMT Master may not have the curves of an OP, a Daytona, or a Yachtmaster, but still is very much wearable on a 15cm wrist. With the demand for Rolex these days, picking up one of these older watches is more satisfying than buying new from a boutique. I certainly had a better experience with this GMT than being interviewed at a Rolex retailer. We tend to feel what we do not know, so now that I've done something out of the comfort zone, things aren't as scary as they once were. My journey dipping into new vintage waters has definitely got me back into watches. And the best part is getting to know that professional Rolexes aren't only reserved for those with a larger wrist. So if you haven't owned a vintage watch, give it a go, because no watch journey is complete without one. Thanks for joining me today. See you in the next video.